Night Bible Study.
You can head over to our website and find out more. Hey, head over to our website also because we post our podcasts on there. But our podcast we also put on our YouTube channel. So subscribe to us, follow us there because we upload and we're trying to be more consistent now and more recent uploading our YouTubes. So live streams will be on there because Facebook recently put a notification that they will not be having the live streams on there forever. Ooh. I don't know how fast they will be removing them.
Was it 2 months?
Okay.
They keep on there or a month?
So if you don't want to miss out on things, or I like to listen to them when I'm getting ready during the day, or when I'm just, I'm washing the dishes or sweeping or stuff like that. I like to have teaching playing. So YouTube is a perfect place.
Does she sweep?
I sweep you off your feet.
Anyways.
That got awkward fast.
Well, thanks for joining us. Love you guys. Bye.
See ya. Join us next week.
All right. So let's say hi to Patty, my sister. Hi, sister. Justin, Janet, Elizabeth from Massachusetts.
Hey.
Hello.
Do you have snow out there, Elizabeth? I'm just wondering because, I don't know. I think Massachusetts gets snow.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into our nutrition again. So let's go to Job 23. Actually, I'm just going to read this for you because unless you want to find Job, go ahead. Job 23 and verse 12. I'm going to read it out of the Amplified Classic. I have not gone back from the commandments of his lips. I have esteemed and treasured the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. Ooh. So we need to treasure his word more than our necessary food. I mean, how many of you ate food today? I ate food today. I ate 3 meals.
Forget.
I mean, you don't forget that, and your body will remind you.
And you plan for that. You know, we shopped on Sunday for the food that we had today. Last Sunday we shopped. And I mean, you plan these. We plan our meals. I took out the meat yesterday to thaw by today. And
we're always
and I mean, do we give that much attention to the Word of God?
Right?
Yeah.
And if they actually say if you don't feel hunger, there's something wrong.
Oh.
You should be hungry in between meals. Because if you're not, usually that can be a sign of, some health problems. And it can be a sign of you're eating. Like all day, all the time, just snacking all the time. So you're just not hungry.
Yeah.
You should be hungry by the time the next meal comes. Otherwise, you could be feeding on something else.
Yeah.
And we do this a lot.
And we can stay hungry for the Word of God.
And you know, the more you eat meat, the more you want meat. Because you're like, ooh, that's good.
Have you ever not been hungry and then somebody brings up what they're going to have for supper or for the... And now all of a sudden, my stomach's growling.
Oh, you really smell it?
Yeah. You smell it.
You just walk. We were at Aldi's, and here there was a Culver's right next to it, and John's like, that smells
we
so
were
good.
downwind.
We were downwind. We should be that upwind to people. They should smell us and be like, that smells like beef. It smells so good.
I smell like a red beef 124 today.
The meat.
Then let's go, or just listen with me, Job 34:3. It says, for the ear tries the word as the palate tastes food.
Isn't that cool?
I remember I heard Keith Moore, and I'll never forget this. He said, we should be testifying of the goodness of God so much that we're like, The person sitting next to you, and you're just like, They're like, what are you eating? What is that? It's so good that they're like, finally, give me a taste of that. I gotta taste this because you're just going on. Have you ever watched those food videos where these people review foods and they're eating it and you're just like, that looks really good.
No, because the whole time I'm thinking, these people are getting 1 million views on this? What are we doing with our lives?
You know, people like to watch people eat.
We should be eating while we have our Bible study.
See?
Yeah, that we kind of...
But people love to watch people eat. People should love to watch you eat and be like, wow, that person's really nourished.
Yeah.
They know what they're eating and be like, ooh, I have to try that.
Yeah.
So tries means tastes or distinguishes.
Oh.
So when you taste something, you're like, ooh, I can taste those flavors in there.
Yeah.
You can distinguish what's being in there. Babies, they're not very discerning. They'll kind of eat whatever. They'll just handful of something. I was a nanny for years, and she would crawl on the floor and she'd get like a bug, and I'm like, no, pop right in the mouth. I'm like, no, why? They gotta taste it. What is this? We should not be like that.
Yeah.
We should be grown up enough where we're like, that's not food.
If you see an adult do that, guess what you think about them? This is how you look. You're like, oh, what's wrong with them?
Justin, if you ever see John do that,
Lion
Don't
King.
tell me.
don't tell Kelly.
I don't want to know.
And you can see little kids, they'll eat dirt, they'll eat glue, they'll lick a spark plug, you don't know, they'll eat anything. That's why they have...
Darn it, my toddler keeps licking the spark plugs in my vehicle. I try to stop them.
Why do you think they have those cabinet locks? Because kids will just get in things and just eat things. You'll see these videos, there'll just be a bag of flour just everywhere, and the kid's like, this is tasty. Kids will do this all the time. We should not be that way. When was the last time, John, you
That
ate
you licked
some
the
glue?
spark plug?
Yeah.
I woke up and I go, no, I did so good for a week, and now I licked the spark plug.
Oh, well, I'm going to lick them all now. I'm just going to.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, we'll do that all the time.
Where did the spark plug come
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wow. So we have to quit snacking on the junk food that the world gives us.
Yeah.
Because then we won't be hungry for when the real meal comes.
Yeah.
You can get so desensitized by junk food and just the sugars and just the high chemicals of thing that when a meal comes by and it's like steak
Yeah.
and potatoes,
from?
you're
Oh, I had spent like spark plugs all day. I couldn't possibly.
I can't lick another thing.
Wow.
How many calories?
This is going to have a good title on this one.
we have to choose not to lick spark plugs.
Oh, my
What's
goodness.
happening?
So, Kelly, how's your day?
Well, anyway.
Started it. So we have to learn to eat our meals. If you eat your meal, you're not going to want to be snacking all day because you're going to be like, I'm so full on this delicious, healthy, nutritious, balanced meal. And this steak with potatoes and the vegetables. You eat that, you're not going to want to be snacking all day. You don't need big snacks.
We've been having experiences where we go out to eat and it just is not as good
No.
as when we make it here. And so we've kind of gotten less and less.
Yeah.
We used to go out every week.
Yeah.
I'm like, I go home.
I surprised a coworker. It's her birthday on Monday, but she's not working. So I got her this little cake at the grocery store after lunch. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's so nice of you to get that, even though you're not eating any. I'm like, well, I had healthy cheesecake for lunch, so I'm not feeling deprived at all because I had my cake, healthy
Right.
cake.
Yeah.
When you eat
Yeah.
the good stuff,
Oh, and when you eat the good stuff, you might not really like it at first, but your taste changes.
Yes.
And now your palate is only for the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When you even taste the bad stuff or you just smell it, it's like, ugh. I remember, John, one time you had some chocolate or something that we had here and you said, oh, I'm just going to have one piece. I'll just throw the rest. I think you got it as a gift or something. And you were like, oh, it didn't even taste like chocolate. I mean, it didn't even taste real or it didn't even taste good. Mm-hmm. I remember Tom, when he was subbing, there'd always be all this food. And then some of the schools, he would get a free lunch. And I remember he had this is a long time ago. He had tasted, I think it was like a sugar cookie or something, or muffin. He said, oh, it didn't even taste real.
Mm-hmm. Because when you taste the real, I remember even when we switched from milk chocolate to dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Then one time we had like some milk chocolate. I'm like, ugh, this doesn't even taste good.
Yeah.
They have these guys and they'll bring these food to these British high schoolers. And it'll be like American food. And here they gave them Hershey's chocolate and they ate it. They're like, you could just taste the chemicals. It's just not good. I just don't like it. And they're like, and then they bring them like soda from here compared to where they don't have all the extra chemicals and stuff. And they drink it. They're like, oh, it's just too sweet. Once you eat the real, then when you taste the fake, you're like,
because even we changed from regular cheddar cheese to sharp cheddar.
oh.
And sometimes we've even had extra sharp and it just tastes.
You can't go back.
Yeah.
You just can't go back.
Mm-hmm.
Tom, when I met Tom, he liked dark chocolate and I would just taste it. It'd be just disgusting. And then I started liking the dark chocolate. I mean, it's just amazing how you can.
Your tastes change every 2 weeks.
Oh,
Your taste buds literally change every 2 weeks. So if you don't like something, that's why you can teach yourself to like things, even things that are bad for you, like green tea. Nobody comes and drinks it the first time and goes, I really like green tea.
Green tea.
Grass and dirt.
Well, I think that for coffee too.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first drank coffee, I was like, oh, what is the deal?
Why would you want to force
So we started with those cappuccinos.
Oh,
that
so
was
bad.
bad. It was really bad.
But you could fill yourself up on that, and then you won't even like regular coffee. But you can switch it back.
Yeah.
So when we choose to feed from the Word of God and we get this in us and we find out how good it makes us feel and we find out the benefits of it and how satisfying it is and how long lasting it is. Because when you snack all day and when you just eat those junk foods instead of real nutritious foods, you're going to be weak and you're going to be small. Yeah. You're going to have no endurance. You're going to have no strength. You're going to try to be strong in the Lord and you're going to be like, oh, I'm running off a Cheeto. Yeah. You can't run off that Cheeto. You don't see marathon runners and they got Cheetos in their bag and they're just eating those. No, they got high protein things that are going to just keep them going. We need those, especially now in these times, in these days. We need that extra nutrition. And as we take care of our spirit being, that's also going to take care of our mental being because that's where it flows through. So when your spirit is strong, it then nourishes the rest of you. Yeah. Which is your spiritual
I was just thinking about, so our family had just gone through a detox. We're just at the end, really. And she told us, the doctor had said, after you do this detox, you're not going to have the food sensitivities. You're not going to have the weird things that happen when you eat certain foods. And I thought, oh, yeah, all right. So Kelly made these chickpea pizzas. We know that's beans. And usually I can have one night, but then I got to have something else because we usually cook for 2 nights. We each cook for 2 nights. And man, I had both, didn't have any side effects, didn't have anything at all. And I thought, that's how it can be with the Word of God because a lot of people say, I cannot read the Word. Mm-hmm. I can't sit on the Word very long. I can't read the Word. And it's because what's happening is they're being convicted. Yeah. But that conviction is a good thing. And you can start getting used to that and not being on the defense or thinking that this is a bad thing or getting these, weird feelings about it and stuff and shutting down. But you can start welcoming it. I welcome it. Yes. I look for that. If I don't get that, then I wonder, have I been taught? Have I sat under the meat of the Word? Wow. Because I want to know. Yeah. I want to make those little baby adjustments. I'd rather make those baby adjustments than come to years and then I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make this adjustment?
And it's just like when you first start working out. So when I first started lifting weights, the first maybe 2 weeks, I was so sore. I was hobbling around. It was bad because my muscles are like, you've never used me before, especially my legs. They were sore to the touch. I'm like, oh, you would sit down. Oh, so here I just get these girls working out. You have to get over that threshold. Yeah. And like you said, if you don't feel it the couple days afterwards, you kind of feel, ooh, did I even work out hard enough? Oh. But now, once you get over that threshold, I don't get to that point of soreness anymore. Yeah. Now, I will have certain of, oh, wow, I really worked that muscle, but it's that hurts so good. Yeah. It's not that, oh my gosh, I can't walk. Mm-hmm. But you're like, ooh, yeah, I worked that. That's good. And you know the difference now when you get comfortable with that. You know the difference of injury or just soreness. Right. But if you give up at that first, oh, that's sore, well, then you just lose all of that progress and all that pain that you just went through and you're suffering through because 48 hours your muscles will repair and you'll be fine. But you just lost all of that progress you just made. Now you start at square one again. Yeah. It's the same with the Word. When you first start reading it, you're like, oh, this is so painful, so sore. But then your body gets used to it.
Here's another thing. So actually, I went through this yesterday. So we worked out Thursday.
Wednesday was leg day.
Okay. Yeah. Wednesday was leg day. So Thursday I woke up and I could not stand up. I was so sore on my backside and my thighs. And I could not walk. It took a little while after I got going, but once I sat down and then, oh my gosh, it was hard to get up or pick up anything off the floor. But the cool thing is she kept saying 48 hours.
Just wait.
It was 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was maybe even less than 24 hours. You know how you can tell if you have gotten to the point where you welcome what God has to say to you, you welcome whatever he's going to show you, whether it's going to be a little ouch, it's going to be a little bit of a oops, I repent, or it's a woohoo, that's amazing, that's right where I'm at. You can tell by how quickly you recover.
Yes.
Oh,
How you stay with it, because the girl said, you're gonna
I'm
work
like,
out next week, right?
She's
I'm
gonna
like,
quit on me.
no, I am. I'm not going through this again. I'm gonna keep going. Yeah, but see, when you are able to trust God enough, trust the process, and get your mindset to, this is good.
Yes, this
This
is
is
okay.
good. I like doing this. It's good to even say that.
Yeah.
Then you're going to recover really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you're going to really enjoy it, and it's going to work more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Because they actually say when you first start working out, you get beginner's muscle growth. It's quicker than people who have been working out for years and years and years.
Oh.
They're like, it's not fair, but when you first start working out, your muscles will grow and get bigger quicker.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I kind of felt like that a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And it's okay if you get this out and you're like, oh, it's okay. Just keep going.
Yeah.
You have to get over that threshold, and then there's like that breakthrough. Then it's easy. They even say that in runners. There's a wall that you hit. But if you stop right there, I remember Dad, he ran Grandma's marathon, and he said that it hurt worse if he stopped running.
Oh.
So he just thought, I'm just going to keep going.
gosh.
It hurts worse if you stop.
That's so good.
Because then you have to start
Yep.
over again.
Yeah.
Oh, just keep going.
Think about if you're paddling in a canoe upstream
Yes.
and you quit. What's going to happen? You're just going to go down. You're going to turn, and you're just going to keep going. And even if you turn, you know how hard that is to turn back?
Yes, it's so hard.
I mean, it's even harder to turn back. So if you just keep a steady
Yes.
pressure on that. Yeah. And you know what? You know why? It's so good to be with other people that are doing that. It empowers you. It empowered me to know that Kelly just went through that whole pain thing. Nally has gone through that. It empowers me. Instead of some people, they just back away. I don't want to be with people that are really good at this and they're farther along than me and blah, blah, blah.
Well, because you think, what's wrong with me? But then when you hear others say, I went through the same thing.
See?
It's okay. It's normal. And it does end.
Yes.
Then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's that reassurance.
Gloria says the Love of God Family Workout Center.
Yeah.
You know, actually,
That'd be
Gloria,
awesome.
we used to exercise at church.
Yeah.
One day we'll have our own gym.
Yeah.
That would be so
that
fun.
would be so fun.
That would be so
yes.
fun. I
We
love
used to do, what was that dance?
Zumba. But it was
Zumba.
Refit Rev.
Christian
Refit Rev
music.
was the Christian version of
Yeah.
it.
It was fun.
But you can't leave out, from working out, you can't leave out the nutrition part. Because if you're not fueling and feeding your body, well, then you're actually going to be more sore. If you're not getting the correct amount of good protein, you're going to be more sore. Because that rebuilds and it helps you get that muscle back. And bodybuilders don't just accidentally get big. They eat their way that way. And it's in a surplus. That's why they also say beginners working out, you don't need to bulk because you probably have a little excess fat on your body, which your muscles will then take from that. But then later on, if you want to build muscle, you have to eat in a surplus to build that, to get bigger if you want to get big. And we want to get big in the Word.
We do.
We
Yes,
want our
we want
spirits
muscles.
to be
We
like
want to
Arnold
be fake
Schwarzenegger.
muscles. That's
We
right.
want to be big in the spirit.
Yeah.
And protein helps you grow. Protein helps you stay fuller longer. So that's why we eat the meat of the Word.
So
We
the
get good
cool
stuff.
thing about muscles is, and this is just, hasn't really even come out for the general public for, I don't know, has it just been like the last 15 years or some, or 10 years? But huge. They say that instead of doing the cardio, instead of doing the running, instead of at least, you know, like at my age, do the muscles.
Yeah.
Because when you get your muscles strong, so they say if you do squats and you get, you know, that exercise, it's just like walking for 30 minutes.
Wow.
Is that just amazing? Who knew? Tell us about that muscle. Oh, and when you get the muscles now, you can carry heavier things.
Yep. You know
God
what?
can send you out on the front lines.
Yeah.
You get closer to the front line. Why? You've got that muscle for it.
And it's not that the problems got lighter, it's you became stronger.
Yes!
That's one thing that I've really noticed with doing this for a couple of years now is I notice things aren't as heavy. So we have our gaming party and we bring down these big TVs and we're moving tables and stuff. And it wasn't this last one, but maybe the two before that I really noticed. I'm like, wow, this stuff like doesn't feel heavy anymore. I'm carrying around. You don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Because then you also learn your muscle limits. You'll learn your limits. I remember when I had broken my foot and that Mom and John, they were the only two still up and they prayed for me and they stopped and they're like, what do you believe? Yeah. They were asking, what's your limit? So then I sat there for a second and I wasn't just going to say what I thought that they would want to hear.
Yeah.
I sat there and in the chaos, I'm like, okay, what do I believe? And I said, and I searched and I found, I believe that when I wake up in the morning, I'll be fine. Like I'll be able to walk on it. And they prayed for me and they said, okay. And I was able to hobble to bed. And then in the morning I could walk on it with just a slight limp. But after that, it was fine. And I had broken my foot. So you have to find, and then don't just stay there. When you find that limit, learn to progress that with muscle overload, progressive overload, which means that your first rep shouldn't look like your last rep. Yeah. How do you know you're doing heavy enough? That last rep should be a struggle. But then you don't end there because that's your first set. Then you rest. Then you do that set again. We should be doing that with the word. Be like, cool. I can only read so much. Well, then rest for 5 minutes. Then get back to it. Yeah. Then do it again. Then, my mind is going off. Rest.
And the other thing, too, that's so cool is you work one day your arms or your upper body. Then the next day, you work your legs. And you're giving this part a rest. And then you're working your legs. And then the next day, you'll work your upper body
different
again,
parts
or
of
different
your
parts
upper
of your upper body. Yeah. And so it's a different target each time. And that's how it should be when we're in the Word. So we can kind of stay in our comfort zones. We get so automated in comfort zones. Oh, this is my favorite thing. I just love to stay in this one little part. And I don't really want to hear anything else. And I don't even know if I really believe that because I just, want to stay in this. Yeah, and that's not going to be... So if you had somebody that only worked the arms, only the upper body, your legs are weak. Yeah. I just heard a doctor say, actually it was several people, because you get that algorithm going on your Facebook, And so I heard several of them say that as you get older, what you want to strengthen, absolutely, you want to strengthen everything, but one of the things is your legs. Yeah. Because that includes your hips and your knees and your feet, because that is something that can go weaker faster. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, wow. Probably because when people get retirement age or older, they sit more. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and they say your longevity is directly correlated with your leg strength. Oh. Because if you lose your leg strength, you can't get around and be social. You can't get around and go to things. And they say that's another thing that correlates with your longevity. And your leg strength is getting up and moving around. And if you can't do that, so leg strength is very important.
Tell about how muscle knows no age.
Yeah, muscle. So they have a literal study. You can look this up. They showed athlete. I think a triathlon athlete. I don't know. Anyways, it was this athlete and they showed just the muscle. Like if you took your arm and chopped it off here and just showed a slice of that muscle with the bone in the middle. And there was just this tiny bit of fat.
on here, she would love that.
There was just this tiny bit of fat around, but that muscle was beautiful. It was beautiful. Then they showed...
Age? Was there an age on that?
I think they were 40. Then they showed a 70-year-old that they didn't work out at all. It was this thick chunk of fat with just a little bit of muscle intertwined in there. It wasn't much. Then they showed a 70-year-old who works out. Looked exactly the same as the 40-year-old. Exactly the same.
What?
And they say muscle memory. So let's say you built some muscle. But then, I don't know, you injured yourself or you got busy and you haven't been to the gym for a while. But then you get back to it. Muscle memory is so much quicker gaining it back than first that gaining it.
And I love to look on Facebook. You can look these up. I love to look at people that are in their 70s, 80s, 90s. I just saw a lady over 100 years old doing a race, a running race. Yeah. And they said she didn't start exercising till she was over 70. Never exercised before.
Yep.
She was heavy. She was sedentary. She was starting to have lots of physical problems. And all of that left.
Wow.
She started, when she started working out.
Well, and the problem with just focusing on one thing in the things of God is you're going to have a weak spot then.
Yeah.
And guess where the devil's going to go? He's looking for the weak spot. He's looking for constantly. He's like, okay, where's the button? Where's that weak spot in their life? And how do we know what's the weak spot? We struggle in that area. Or I've noticed it in, I said this before, but one of my New Year's resolutions was to get more serious about standing in faith for finances than just my go-to of healing or worry or peace, And how did I know I was weak in that? Well, if somebody taught on finances, I was kind of like, I'm not really inspired. It's not really touching my heart. Well, it's not their problem.
I only like arm days.
It's my problem. Yeah. Or, I would read things and I don't know, you just like struggle more in that area. That's how you know it's a weak spot. But there's good news. It's basically the same process in every single thing.
Yeah.
And so, I could take the things I've learned on healing or peace and I could put it in finances too. So.
And
That's
when
really
the devil comes to you to find your weak spots, he's there to push you, injure you. But when God is there, that's why a lot of people don't read the Bible, because he's going to show you your weak spots too. But he's showing you those so that you can strengthen them then. Because he's like, whoa, it's kind of like a physical therapist. They're going to find out where you're weak. And then they're going to give you exercises for you to do at home to strengthen that. God's not going to do your part. You have to do your part. We each have a part. We each have things that we have to do. And it's going to look differently for each one of us because every body is different and every person is different and they're going to need different things that are weakened. But anything can be strengthened and God's going to show you the exact steps. He'll help you do your part. Mm-hmm. Like you could go to a physical therapist and be like, I think I'm doing this wrong because I'm not seeing results. Mm-hmm. You know you're doing it wrong when there's no results to show. Mm-hmm. If you're kind of like, is this working? Am I doing it right? Well, have you been doing it for a while and are there any results? Just kind of look at that. Look at your life.
So we have a homework this week. So we just have, 1 day left. I think, we'll probably do it for 2 weeks because it's just so powerful. Yeah, I think we need to get, automated in this. But to go through the 4 Gospels and to read all of the healings and the miracles that Jesus did. And then we're going to carry it into the church in Acts and, go on. But anyways, so then I had put on our church private Facebook page, give me feedback of how it's going for you. And it was just so fun reading of the people that are doing that and what it is doing for them. And each one said that it got them more encouraged. It stirred them up. It got them more excited about it. And it's very easy to go through. It's actually easy just to skim through. You can see the healings there.
Especially when most of these Bibles have red for where Jesus taught.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true, yeah. Now, there are a few places where I found, because I was going for the red, where the healings were in black. Yeah. But not very many. Mm-hmm. But yeah, even if you didn't do it this week, we're going to do it again next week. So you can start. Just start now. Start in Matthew 1. And because we want to get this so big in us, so big that when someone is sick around us, we're going to lay hands on them and pray for them like Jesus did. And we're going to have the same faith and the same expectation that Jesus had in that person getting healed.
Reading through, I just have to do John, but reading through it, I just thought, oh yeah, this is a cool homework. It was really powerful. And it was so amazing to see how Jesus saw sickness and disease or how he responded. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, oh no, what are we going to do? This is big. Hold on, everybody. Disciples, leave me alone. I got to work up this power. But no, it was nothing. Mm-hmm. Even right in the face of death, they're just sleeping. And so, and I love hearing what touched different people's hearts. And, it was powerful. I was shocked at how amazing it was to read it.
Yeah. And I thought it was very encouraging to read what everybody put.
I got to go back.
I haven't commented on it yet.
Yeah. Yep.
And the cool part is this is the nutrition part. But you can't have one without the other. You have to have the nutrition and the working of it.
Yeah.
And you can tell we've been weak in this era because, I mean, how many of us have been out there evangelizing or healing or praying for people and doing all that kind of stuff on a regular basis?
Right.
Crickets. I mean, I haven't either. So this is good because now we're feeding on this. We're getting the nutrition. Then it's time to start working it. Yeah. Then it's time to start working the nutrition we've built up. Because you can't have one without the other. You'll be weak if you just do one or the other. You have to have both.
Right.
Let's go to Psalms 119 and verse 103. Psalms 119 is the biggest book in the Bible. Or the single chapter, the biggest single chapter in the Bible. Psalms 119 verse 103. How sweet are your words unto my taste, yea, sweeter than honey to my mouth. And I have this in the Message. Your words are so choice, so tasty. I prefer them to the best home cooking. They're better. They're better than the best home cooking. You know, you go home and mom makes you her special dish and you eat it and you're like, oh, this is better than that. This is better than that. Because this is God's home cooked meal that he made for you. Ooh.
Or better than grandma makes with her mashed potatoes and a whole thing of cream cheese and I mean, come on. And
grandma.
She's not just, all right, come again and everybody. No, they serve you. They always have cookies in the cookie jar. I mean, come on.
They make mac and cheese with cheese slices in there, extra cheese. I'm like, this is my grandma. God makes it even tastier than that.
Yeah.
Where it like hits your soul. You cry a little bit. You're like, Grandma, that's so good.
And God knows exactly what would be special for you.
Yes.
Where your taste is at right now. He knows that.
He knows that. Your answers and provision, it only comes to those who are hungry. If you sit down at that table and you're like, I just ate like 5 boxes of cookies. I can't eat that. And they were like the dollar store cookies that, are made with just, and they didn't even taste that good. And you're like, and then grandma comes with her home cooked meal and you're like, I can't even look at that. It doesn't even look good. No, I would rather be, I've been waiting all day for this, grandma. I'm ready. And how much does that bless grandma? Yeah. Who worked all day making that meal just for you. Yeah. And then you eat it and you're like, that was so good. That's how we should be with God all the time.
I remember one time I had this very kind of fancy dinner at our house. And I had put several tables, and I think we had like 15 people or something. And I had this whole china set for that many people, matching, and so I set it up linen tablecloths, and it was just fancy, and told everybody that this was going to be fancy. It was a bunch of people at our church that we used to, I was associate pastor at, and so one lady came late. And she was like 40 minutes late.
Oh, no.
And so she said, well, I just had to go for my run.
Oh, my
I just had to go jog. Everything was cold for her. Everything was put away. We were on our dessert by then. And so I thought, really? Yeah. And then she was mad because I was kind of put out. And I felt kind of bad that but the Bible talks about that. Mm-hmm. When the supper was ready, the wedding was ready, when the table was ready, and the people wouldn't come.
Yeah.
I'm too busy.
I got it, Cal.
I just got married.
I got no wine.
I got it, yeah. And we can just and you miss out on that hot meal, fancy meal. And
that was like catered to you.
Yep.
Yes.
That's, You gotta miss out on so much.
We gotta shout out to Jacob. He's so sweet.
Jacob!
Wow.
Good to see
Awesome.
you. Love it. Now let's go to Psalms 119 and verse 28.
28.
So now we got our nutrition. Now what do we do with it? Raise me up and strengthen me according to the promises of your word. I also have that in the Message. My sad life's dilapidated. Yeah, my sad life's dilapidated, a falling down barn. Build me up again by your word.
Wow.
Dilapidated.
Wow.
Yeah. So we build ourselves up with protein.
Dilapidated? Yo, that's okay. Dilapidated. That's okay. That's okay.
I don't
Doesn't
know.
matter.
It's a big word.
It's a big one.
So protein builds muscles. Protein is muscles building blocks. So we need to build ourselves up with the word.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing this week.
Yes.
When we're reading through we're eating just the protein. We're skipping the chips.
Yeah.
We're skipping the chips and salsa. Get that out of the way. I'm waiting for my meat. My meat's coming. I'm getting the big bowl that's just full of meat.
Yeah.
Skip the chips.
Yeah.
Skip the fillers.
A bowl
Give me
of-
the good.
A bowl of meat.
Now,
So
I'm
funny.
expecting the Lord to have us go out as a church. I
Yes.
don't have anything yet, and I'm not going to make it happen.
Yeah.
We're following him. He said he will make us fishers of men. So these are just steps that the Lord is leading us, that he as pastor is showing, okay, this is what you do, this is what you do, this. So by the time we get to the point where he sends us out, we are going to be so ready.
Yes.
We're going to run through like David ran to Goliath.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can fake it at first.
Mm-hmm.
You can fake it, but there will come a point where you're not going to be able to fake it. So get in now.
Yeah.
Put your flesh under. Tell your flesh what it's going to do.
Yeah.
That's right.
And your flesh will thank you
Yeah.
because this is you're going to get built up on the inside. It's going to come out on the outside. And that's going to get built up too. Yeah.
You can only fake it so long. So Kelly,
So long.
I'll tell her myself. Kelly had taken piano lessons, like classical piano. She learned all that stuff. So me, being the little sister, I have to do everything Kelly does. So I'm like, Mother, I want to take piano lessons. Now, I could not read music notes. So here I'm taking the first couple lessons. I kind of faked it till I made it. I was pretty good with like sounding it out myself. So then I had like maybe 2 lessons. And then the teacher was like, okay, well, we're going to learn this song. And I want to do Silent Night because I could fake that one. You can only fake it for so long. She's like, no, we're going to do Jingle Bells. And I'm like, I don't know how to play that one. I quit. Because you could only fake it for so long, and I couldn't read the notes, and I couldn't figure it out, and I don't know. I didn't really want to do it. I just wanted to do it because Kelly was wanting to do it. Which, there's nothing wrong with that. But you can only fake it until you get to so many levels.
You can.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then,
Yep.
when the test comes, and you faked it all these years, and now you're in 10th grade, and you still don't know how to read.
Oh boy, that's a problem.
You can only fake it for so long.
Yeah.
Now you're like, oh, that's why cheating really never helps you. It only harms you, yourself. Because just like cramming for a test, being like, okay, I just know what answers to circle. I don't know why. That's actually partially cheating. You can only cheat so far. And I was showing these girls when we were working out together, that these same bodybuilding movements that we're doing, these same exercises, we were talking about Kellyanne because she is a bodybuilder and she won all her competitions, like amazing
All
strength.
of them.
Yes.
And I told these girls, I'm like, you're doing the same exercise she's doing, just lighter weights. Now you can only fake it for so long. Let's say, oh, well, I'm doing the same movements, but with my 2-pound weights. And then you get to the bodybuilding competition because you're like, well, I'm doing the same thing. And they're lifting the 400-pound
no
weights. You can't fake that. The gym is an equalizer.
Yeah.
You can't fake it in there.
You ever see those dudes? And they inject their biceps.
No.
No.
They inject their biceps
What do
with.
they inject it with?
I don't know, but
Jell-O?
then they got these great big. It doesn't matter.
Meat.
But it's in there, and they walk like they,
Ew.
Like they
strong. We
are
got these
strong.
great big bulges. But then, like you said,
Yeah.
it's all fake.
Yeah. There's no real
Oh
strength
my
in that.
God.
I think people
Gosh.
do that in life, and they make
Yes.
this big. I've got this. I think people with debt and
Ooh.
acquiring a lot of stuff to make them look like they're successful. They're just inflating.
They're puffed up.
But when the time comes,
Yeah.
they're gonna fail.
Yeah.
You can puff yourself up until finally we pop your bubbles and I have nothing under
I
that.
think they show some of them where they like get in a fight and their ego is so big and they push that so far they actually think that they can, and then they get beat up or whatever.
Oh.
The Bible talks about that you can deceive yourself, and if you go with it for so long,
Yeah.
well, then you kind of get too far in there.
Yeah.
And we don't want that to happen. That's why that's why this is the mirror. It kind of
Yeah.
tells us, it shows us our strength. Because then when we get to a faith test, the disciples did that so many times. But thank God Jesus was so nice.
Yeah.
Like
He
Peter,
was
when he's
patient.
walking on the water, he's like, oh yeah, I got big muscles, Jesus. Call me out. 5 steps later, I'm drowning. I can't. Never mind. I can't lift that. Jesus is like, it's okay. He's your spotter. He'll be like, you're choking. I can't lift that. I'll help you up here. Thank God for Jesus. So you can only give out what has become real to you. You can only lift what you've built up to. You can only use your faith as far as you've strengthened it. Now, there has come places where you get to the end of your faith, and then God comes with a supernatural boost.
Wow.
But you still have to build up to that, and then God will come in.
Yeah.
You have to feed the word into your heart yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody can lift the weights for you. Nobody can force feed you nutrition. Yeah. Nobody can do the work. Nobody can plant this word in you. You have to do it.
Yeah.
And it's the day in and day out. The more you're consistent, the easier it is.
Yeah.
You can't cram in the gym and become a bodybuilder in a week. That's not how that works. It actually takes years to build up to that.
Yeah.
It's the same with the word. You can't cram, oh no, my nose is falling off my face. All right, I'm just going to cram as fast as I can. Now, you can reconnect yourself with like, oh, I forgot who I was from what's already built in there. But cramming isn't going to help anybody. You have to build it in.
And that's what we're doing. We're building our faith for healings, for miracles, for evangelizing, getting people saved. We're building our faith. And God really wants us as a church family to do this together.
Yes.
Do this together. We're all starting at the same point practically. And so this is just really fun. This is really exciting to see. Yeah.
And it's fun when you do it together because each one is coming from different points and different strengths in their life.
Yeah.
So find somebody who's a little bit ahead of you because they'll inspire you to, oh, well, if they can do one more rep, well, I got to do one more rep. These two girls, they're so fun because they're starting like maybe a week behind each other and they kind of spur each other on. I was like, oh, come on, you can lift heavier than that. And Kelly's like, really, I can? And it's so fun that way. That's why they say actually that when you have like a workout partner that's close in strength and all that stuff with you, you'll spur each other on. Because you'll be like, oh, they upped their weights a little bit. I want to up my weights.
She's spurring me on and I'm like, okay, Mom, based on how I felt the next day, you might want to take it easy.
Oh man, yesterday was something.
I'm like, oh no, I broke my
But you know what? When you get those days though, that's really good for you.
Yeah.
It's good for you to work through a hard thing.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get to the point where you are only going to do comfortable, easy things you've done before. No, we need to be challenged.
Yes.
Yeah, and God's got challenges for us to do. And I don't want to be not available for that. And he has to find somebody else.
Right. And when you put in that work and you build that strength, you can then help others do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because when you get that knowledge, God can use you with that then. Now I can then help these girls with the things I learned the hard way. Like, oh, I don't do that way because I hurt myself, so do it this way instead.
See? Yeah.
So they don't have to learn that way. But why? I've studied this. I've watched this. I've done it myself. I've physically done all of these workouts myself, so then I can then show them.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. God has done all of this himself. So then he showed us. That's what we're seeing with Jesus.
That's right.
We're seeing real practical application of how did he do this?
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, that's how he did it. And then we do the same thing.
Yeah.
We do the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe with smaller weights, but we do the same thing and then build up to those.
And the cool thing is he's given us everything we need to do it like him.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That is so cool.
And wouldn't that just be so, to get to heaven and not use any of that. Not do any of it.
Wow.
Miss out on all of that.
You know, and that was interesting what you said about only doing easy things. I think we're in a society that has glorified and worships comfort.
Yeah.
Worships it. Builds shrines, lazy boy shrines to their comfort. And heated seats. And, I mean, just all sorts of crazy. But, I mean, you just look at the last week, the last 6 months. When was the last time and how many times do you get to a situation and your thinking is this? I mean, it can go across the board, but this is just good for your brain, good for your willpower. To hit a situation and go, man, I can't get this. It's too hard. And that's the point where you either push through or you give up.
Yeah.
Because the more times you give up, every time, everything in your life, there are successes that are on the other side of that breakthrough period. I've got to get stronger. I mean, you look at movies, everything in life in just the last 10, 20, 30 years has gotten so dumbed down, but it's gotten into the church.
Yep.
Where God wants to lead you through things that might seem difficult, but he's going to lead you through them. But everybody that he's used has to get through those things. So I think God puts us in positions like with our job, or maybe with family situations, where you've got to go, this is a hard situation, but I know God's going to help me through this. And you stick it out.
You stick it
you
out.
stay with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just goofy. We learned a new card game. And you sit there and you go, is this worth it? Or, you know, you get to, let's say at our church, and we're getting ready for this garage sale, and there's situations that come up and you go, and you're hitting your head against the wall, it feels like, and you're like, when I was little, I'll just tell them myself, you know, just kind of a situation. When we were little, we didn't, you know, parents didn't just go out and buy us everything we wanted. And that was probably good for us, because you get to the point where things are you know, you'd have to earn it or work to. Anyways, I wanted a joystick for my airplane game that I had on the computer.
Oh.
And I didn't have a joystick. I didn't have a very good joystick. But I had an N64 controller.
Oh.
And so I remember banging my head, man, I need something that's good. This is just not good. It always is just kind of, you let go and it's just going left. Whatever.
No.
So I'm like, okay, my N64 controller has a joystick. So I had a hard thing. I'm like, I want this to work. And I had to learn. So I took the N64 controller apart.
John,
I took the wires because I took the joystick apart. And I saw the up and down and left and right had wires. And I don't remember if I taped them together, but I got them together.
What?
Where the N64 controller had all these weird wires, but I could push it. And it would move it a little bit. And I got to that point. And I can think of different things. And, you know, I didn't amount, but it was good for me to push through that.
Yes.
It was good for me to push through that. Problem solving. But a hard situation, and that God will use that. Somebody says, well, who cares? It's a joystick. No, God's going to put you in situations with your church, with your family. Well, even evangelizing where this is, how do I break through?
Yeah.
Don't run away from that.
Yeah.
You stay in that because that's where you grow.
Yes.
When you're working out,
Yep.
you hit that point. Is this even worth? This is stupid. Why am I doing this? Let God work with you in that situation.
Yeah.
So good.
Yep.
In the Word, with your faith, stay in that situation. I just don't get it. You stay in it anyways. Stick with it. You just remember that we do this with that Karate Kid, and he didn't explain why. But he put him in these hard situations, one after another, after another.
Yeah.
And he came, and he knew Mr. Miyagi knew how to karate and all that, and he needed to learn this, and he was getting beat up, and he finally wanted it enough. And then Mr. Miyagi didn't explain it, he just told him, wax on. Wax off. All day. All day. And he thought, man, this is stupid. I'm going to do this. And then the next day, sand a fence. And he'd come up to him and he's sanding the fence, and it's been hours. And just to dig into just to make him mad. It looked like he was just trying to make him, no, because he'd do it and he'd go, oh, I could just go, no, like this. Like this. Sand the fence. And then paint the fence. The next day, paint the fence. Whatever he was doing.
I remember.
And he got so frustrated. And then he showed him, this is what this is working towards.
Oh.
And there was breakthrough. We've been so conditioned to run away from things that are hard.
Yeah.
I've had it in my life where, whether it be publishing or something on a computer or something at work, where you get in that spot, you're just like, oh,
It's not working.
I know there's a way.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this thing will come over you. Now it's a challenge.
Yeah, you know what? I've seen that change in you. Because we do all this stuff with Timmy, and we have to do it on the computer, and then there's stuff with his prescription, just everything. And then we're doing our taxes. Kelly helps us do our taxes. And then, we've got these things come up. Tom needs to do, something legal with Tim, and it's got to be all online. And Kelly now, she's like, okay, let's figure this out. Let's go to the computer.
This.
And because I have not walked through that, I'm like, I don't want to do
quit.
this. I don't want to do
There's
this.
there's
It's all hard. I mean, I have literally left legal papers on my desk and not touched them until it was like past the time. It was really bad.
Yeah.
And because I didn't want to work through that. But she has gone past that. And now, like she said, now it's a challenge.
Well, and when you've seen results, where one time it was a challenge. I was trying to get this thing to work for this person at work, and it ended up saving them like $1,200. You know, the dopamine that gets you, and it just makes you so excited. So when I see those results, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good, or whatever. But it's just amazing how you can get to that point where it's like, okay.
Yeah. And then spirit, soul, and body, it's cool because with your body, you start working out, and your body, you know, just to phrase it, gets into a mode where I got to get stronger.
Yep.
That's what the body does.
Yep.
When you hit that point. And you hit that the most when it's the hardest.
When you hit muscle failure.
So mentally, when you're learning these things, you get into that point where your brain goes, okay, we've got to get better at this. We've got to get this. And, but your spirit, your heart will grow what your imagination and what your faith takes hold of. Your heart will do whatever it takes, and your heart will go, time to grow this. Mm-hmm. Just like a seed, you plant it, and something in that seed says, okay, we got to do this. We got to grow. You know, you hear about different people, and like I think of one, and they lived in a trailer house, and they had nothing, and they were poor, and finally, something inside of him, he saw something, and this little boy who became a minister later, he said, someday I'm going to live in the house. And his mom heard him, and she said, shut up. We're trailer trash. Aww. You'll never have that. Wow. But that point, his heart, he stayed with it. He didn't let that go. His heart immediately began to grow that. And he finally got to the place where he got that success. He was able to bless his parents, his mom.
Wow.
Got her a house and stuff. But he had to stick with that hard. I mean, in the Bible, it's calling things that be not as though they were.
Well, and you can even see that because you've heard ministers where they said that believing for that first dollar was the hardest thing ever. And then once they got that momentum, then believing for the $1 million was easy. Yeah. It's the same with working out. It's so fun because I never realized I did this, but now I'm seeing it with these girls starting out, that when you first start out, you don't really trust your muscles yet. You don't really know what they're doing, so you don't feel comfortable and you don't have the confidence to get to that muscle failure yet. And muscle failure is, I can't lift this because it's so heavy, where that could be scary. But once you've built up that confidence of, I know what I'm doing now. I know what this is supposed to feel like. Me. Yes. Yeah. And you've built up the confidence where you know this is injury and this is just muscle failure, which is fine. Then you can go as hard as you want. And when you do that, then you start seeing even bigger progress. Mm-hmm. Because you can lift the little weights. That's great. You do lots of reps then. Or you can lift the heavy weights, do one set to muscle failure, and then you're done. Then you move on. It becomes quicker then. We do the same thing with the Word of God, but we have to build up that confidence. Yeah. And that's a progression of time.
And it's trust.
It's trusting.
Faith.
Yes. That's why we have to build that relationship with God to be like, okay, I'm going to trust you in this, that I'm not going to hurt myself because I know you're going to come through, or you're going to be there to spot me if I can't lift this up. I'm not going to like choke and die. You're going to be there to help me.
Think about some of the situations that Jesus would put his disciples in.
Right.
You know, Jesus could have easily leaned on, well, I'm the Son of God. I'm anointed. I've been filled with the Spirit, and I can do these miracles. But he'd always push it on them. You're going to cast out. You go out, and you're going to cast out demons.
Yep.
He would turn to them and say, because the multitudes, and he would say, you feed them. And they would go, Lord.
What do you have?
Lord, how are we going to? Or they'd be on the way, and he'd tell them, we're going to go to the other side. And they'd get in the boat, and it was night, and he's asleep. And he put that on them. And it looked like they were going to die. And they woke Jesus up and said, don't you care? He rebuked the wind. He said, peace, be still. And then he looked at them and he said, how is it that you have no faith? He wanted them to press through those situations.
That's like a little kid. And you're going, come on, you can walk. Come on. Yeah.
And he even went to the point of, after he preached that sermon, drink my blood, eat my flesh.
Wow.
And they're like, this is a hard saying, Lord. And he goes, does this offend you? And I was transferring my notes from my other Bible, and it came to that point, and I had different translations that said, does this make you stumble? Does this make you question your faith?
Oh.
And it's like he brings us to these places on purpose to see what you're really made of.
Okay, so Okay, so when I got up yesterday morning and I could not walk, and I thought, I'm going in that bedroom. I'm showing Natalie what happened. I hobbled in there. My one leg was better than my other one. I was like, I went on this one a little bit better. If I go sideways, it was a little easier. And I went and I said, look at, I can't even walk, you guys. I was so insane.
Exactly why I didn't want to do this.
I said,
and I'm like, oh
this
my
is
God,
why
no.
I didn't want to do this. Why? Because when I was working out, it was my first day, I wasn't sore at all. I can do this.
She was like,
I
oh,
can do
this is easy.
This is so
I'm
easy.
like, honey,
Woo,
just you
woo,
wait.
woo, woo. Come on, Kelly. Get some weights up. She already went through that hard part. And then the next day, and I thought, okay, I got a couple choices here to make.
Yeah.
I got a couple choices here to make. I could sit and be sore all day, or I could believe God.
That's right.
That I am not going to be, a little bit. I mean, you should have some soreness, but it's a good soreness.
Like you should
when
feel,
you work out.
I worked that muscle.
I worked that muscle. And the other one was, am I going to keep doing this?
That's what I thought.
Well, think about that spiritually.
Yes,
God,
absolutely.
God's a big God on Sunday.
Yep.
And I mean, man, the word's working and people, but then Monday comes.
Yep.
And the situation hits.
That's right.
And are you going to stay with it?
Yep.
And God brings us to the same. Jesus didn't change.
Yeah.
He's the same. He brought his disciples, those situations. He's going to bring us to those situations.
Yeah.
And we go, man, it's just not working. What is the deal? This is hard. Well, just stay with the word.
Yeah.
Always stay on God's side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever the situation. Stay with the word. Because the word will work.
Yep.
You stay with the word. I remember Kenneth Hagin on the bed of sickness.
Oh.
And that thought that he got to Mark 11:24. And he said it was like just a candle in the darkness. And he thought, I desire a well body. But then his thinking came in and said, well, that's done away with it. What his mom said, what his grandmother said, what his church said, that's been done away with. You couldn't have that. But that kept coming back to him. And he said he would stay with that word, and he didn't even understand it. And he said it would have been the easiest thing in the world to die. He said most would have. But he said, I stayed with the word. I stayed with the word. He said, I'd read it over and over out loud. He said some nights he wouldn't sleep more than 30 minutes. And he said, must have read it thousands. Didn't mean a thing in the world. But he said he stuck with it. He said, if you stay with the word will stay with you. And if it ever dawns on your spirit what this is actually saying, you'll have it made.
Yeah.
He said, when the light came, faith came. And it was just within minutes, less than an hour, he was up on his feet. He had several organic heart disorders and chest cavity deformed and a rare blood disease. He didn't have a chance in a million. But when that word came alive and it dawned on his spirit what it was actually saying, he stayed with that hard thing. He was healed. And he told people for years, decades, that Mark 11:24 will work for you.
And that's why we're going through the Gospels. Just like you said, it has to dawn on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be like a revelation, a rhema word, and then you're like, okay, I'm all in. I'm all in.
That parable of the man who built his house on the rock, and it said that he that hears my sayings and does them. What's our homework? Reading the sayings of Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that parable is saying if you don't do the sayings of Jesus, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
You're going to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so let's say that I want to start working out. So you watch all these workout videos. That's great. But then you don't do anything about it. The easiest way to learn something is to see it and then do it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I saw, because Kelly, I was trying to teach her this one workout. And she's like, I have to see you do it first. That's why I like this app that I have. It has a video that you can watch. But then I'm also watching other people do it because they'll tell you some hacks and tricks and all this stuff. So then I'm like, Kelly, see how I do this? That's what Jesus said. See how I do this?
Yeah.
Okay, now you do it. And then he
Yeah.
says, no, you gotta go back farther like this. And he does that. He even did that with the disciples when they couldn't cast out that demon. He's like, no. Go back farther. This only comes out by fasting and praying. And Jesus didn't go, okay, now I'm going to go fast and pray for about a week. I'll come back. No, he lived a fasted life. So he's like, I'll show you this time.
I've been doing this, I believe it was a leading of the Lord. One morning I was reading my Bible and we're talking about like witnessing and sharing the good news. And so I kind of got this, I could try this. So I've been testing the waters a little bit with this online.
It's so awesome.
And I'm like, okay, Lord, I need good bait. Like, what should I say in this situation or whatever? And it's really like a testing, leaning back on God, relying on Him thing. And so far, I've got mostly crickets. But
I don't think people know what you mean. So you're online and you're wishing somebody a happy birthday.
Yeah, so instead of just saying happy birthday, I send them a private message and say, hey, happy birthday. In honor of your birthday, I love asking 2 questions. Number 1, what are you going to do to celebrate? Number 2, what's the best thing that's ever happened to you? And leading up to, then I tell them what's the best thing that happened to me, and do they want that too, kind of thing. So I've gotten a few responses, but after I go out and put myself on a limb, crickets. But I got this thing the other day because, I can be this, yeah, it's a challenge, let's do this in certain areas. Other areas I'm like, forget it, I quit. No. But all of a sudden the challenge thing came on me and I'm like, you know what? I don't care if it takes 100 people before somebody responds, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know what? You need to regularly have those situations to train yourself to stick with it in hard situations.
Yeah.
I read you something that goes right with that in Matthew.
Yeah.
We're doing this, and it's hard. I don't get very far, and I stop with what Jesus said. In Matthew 9, it talked about, right before that, in the other chapter, it talked about you pull the stick out of your own eye, and then you can help the person with the straw. And I think of all these things in the context of him reaching the lost.
Oh.
Ooh.
You need to have these things settled in your own life.
Yes.
So you can help those.
That's really good.
But then in Matthew 9, verse 12, so in verse 11, it said the Pharisees said, why do you eat with publicans and sinners? And Jesus said, because here's the deal, we're in a world of these kind of people. We're not sent particularly to reach the Pharisees. Don't go to churches to try to change them. That's not your calling.
No, that's not.
And then Jesus says this, they that be whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. But go ye and learn what this means. I will have mercy and not sacrifice, for I am come to call the righteous, not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. Now look at verse 15. It says right after that, he said this, can the children of the bridegroom, look down to 16. No man puts a piece of new cloth on an old garment, for that which is put in it, fill it up, it takes away from the garment, and the rent is made worse. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, and the wine runs out, and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. And I believe the Lord was saying that this is like you said, what can I do in this situation? There's got to be something new.
Yeah.
He said new wine.
Whoa.
New. And you give that to new. That new thing, you're not supposed to go after those old Pharisees and stuff. It's for the unbeliever.
Yeah.
He's going to give you something new, and it'll preserve both.
And so do you think that this symbolizes the bottle is us now? We have to be new as that new wine, inside and out? I mean, because we have to step up here.
Well, wine stands for the Spirit, for
Yeah.
the anointing.
Yeah.
And I believe that wine is something you bring to put in those people who don't have it.
Nice.
That's so good.
That's so good.
Yeah, and then, to be led, okay, well, maybe I did something wrong here. Okay, what should I do the next time? Or what should I do now? And then it came to, you know what? Who cares what they think of me? I don't even know these people.
Yeah.
But you were being nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but, the whole pride factor. But, yeah, so it's exciting and I don't care. So that's a
a
good
nice place to be. Be nice. Love people.
Well, I don't care if
they don't like it.
Or if they don't respond, that's okay. We got more fish in the sea.
Well, we have all prayed in our church for God to train us up.
Yeah.
And we have surrendered and submitted to Him to train us up to do the works that Jesus did and the greater works. Yeah. And one of the main ones is witnessing. Mm-hmm. Witnessing about how good God is, how great He is, how
what He did, what's available. Yeah.
Yes. And so that's what we're talking about. And we are going to keep continuing talking about this on Sunday morning. Yes.
I'm excited.
Yeah. This is really, really exciting. So church, keep pressing in the Gospels. Read the healings. What I've done is I've had a pen with me. And then when I find them, I write on the top healing, and then I put the verse.
Oh.
So that when I go back, then I'm going to see the healings. And so I'll be able to go through it just with it. Next time, I'm going to put a star by the scripture there so that I can just see that right away.
Really
cool.
And then, I don't know, maybe I'll have a highlighter.
I
That'll be a
highlight
certain
all
color.
my healing ones in blue.
So think about this too. Just remember when you're reading through that, everybody that Jesus healed was an unsaved person.
That's right.
That's true.
That's right.
And what Jesus was filled with, it says if we have the same spirit that raised Christ from the dead,
Yeah.
it's the same spirit.
Yeah.
If we have the same spirit that God used through Jesus, and he went about doing good and healing all the world for us, then that it has to work the same today.
Well, think about this. The disciples that he sent out, he first sent out the 12, then he sent out 70. And he said, go preach the gospel, preach
In
the
my
kingdom,
name, yes.
and
Yes,
heal.
yes.
And heal. They were sinners.
Yeah.
They were not saved. They didn't have the Holy Spirit. They
Isn't
weren't
that
born
amazing?
again. Jesus hadn't died yet. How much more today
Yes.
with the anointing and with him in us?
Yeah.
This should be, I mean,
These signs shall follow them that believe.
yep.
And it ends with, they shall lay hands on the sick and they
Yes.
shall recover.
Yeah.
Just like cast out demons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is exciting. This is
Praise
exciting.
God. I'm so excited.
So yeah, so start, if you haven't started yet, start in Matthew, go through the 4 Gospels, and yeah, praise God. It's
Praise
very
God.
exciting. Yeah.
Well, we'll be back Sunday morning on live and in person. We would love to have you join us.
Yes.
Have a good night. Happy
Yeah.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye.